Hello everyone and welcome to the series of Did You Know JavaScript. In today's video we are going to talk about this keyword, and the intention of this video is to clear the concept of this keyword once and for all. By the end of this video you should have this concept totally clear in your mind and be able to evaluate any program that contains this keyword. So let's go ahead. Before we begin talking about this keyword, I wanted to talk about a function inside a JavaScript. A function inside a JavaScript is a collection of logical statements grouped together inside a block, and it becomes more useful when it can be executed in multiple contexts. This keyword refers to the context in which a function can be executed. So, this aware functions are more likely to be flexible than the normal functions. It is because we can execute the same function in many different contexts. For example, we can say let's go buy grocery as a function. Now, buying a grocery in one area would be different than buying a grocery in a different area. You might have to go to different locations. The distance might be different. But at the end of the day, the same function is executed in different contexts of different area. So let's go ahead and have a look at the code. I'll open my browser, I'll go to console, and here I'm going to type a function speak. It's a simple function which has only one line, console.log this.sound. So I wanted to check what will be the output of this function if I had called speak right over here. If you have said undefined, then the answer is correct. Now, the reason for undefined is that when the function is executed, it tries to find sound variable. It tries to find sound variable first inside the local scope of the function and then the global scope of the function. And hence, by default inside JavaScript, if we are not mentioning this, the function will try to find sound on the window object. Now let me go ahead and define sound globally before I execute this function. Let's define a sound variable globally where sound equal to cuckoo. Let's suppose it was a bird. Now what should be the output of this? Output of this function should be cuckoo. The reason is when speak function tries to execute itself, there is no context and hence it cannot find sound property in the local scope, and hence it goes ahead and tries to find the sound property in the global scope which is available. So when the speak function execute, it gives us the output of cuckoo. That's simple, right? Now let us take a bit more complex example. Function speak console.log this.sound. Let's make an object where dog equal to, how does this dog sound? Let's say that dog has a sound property and the dog sounds woof. And let us give this dog another property named speak, which would be pointing to the function speak, which is this function. So we have mentioned a dog object which has a sound property that is woof, and it has another property named speak which points to the speak function. Now if I go ahead and say dog.speak, what shall be the output? It shall be woof. The reason being is the speak function is now executed in context of dog object, and this happens implicitly, and this is known as implicit binding. So whenever we say dog dot speak, it tries to go ahead and find sound inside the dog object first. So that means the speak function is getting executed in context of dog function. The reason why dog.speak gives woof is now the speak is executed in the context of dog variable. That means this is now treated as the dog object. So whenever the speak function is called, it tries to find the sound property inside this particular object, and hence you get woof as the answer. So here this becomes the dog object, and hence the sound property that it refers to is the one that is inside the dog object. Now this was quite simple. Let's introduce another animal. Let's say we have a cat. Let's remove this. Where cat. Cat also has a sound property, and it sounds meow. And it also has a speak property, and let's bring in some twist just to test the knowledge. Dog.speak. What we are doing here is we are just taking the function signature that is assigned to speak and then assigning it into speak property of cat object. Guess the output. What shall be the output of cat.speak? It should it be woof or should it be meow? It should be meow. This means that the speak function of cat has been executed in the context of cat object, and this is known as implicit binding. We can even do explicit binding. So let's say we had speak function just as usual, and we'll remove the speak property from dog, and we can go ahead and say speak.call. Call is another way in JavaScript you can invoke function, and then you can say dog, and this should give you an output woof. So that's correct. And if you had another object, that would be, let's say, cat. Cat sounds meow. And let's try this now. Let's try and execute it in the context of cat. The output should be meow. And this is known as explicit binding. So it's quite simple a concept. Now there are two possibilities. We execute a function which has a this keyword inside it without any context. So now if we try to execute speak function without any context, so what happens is there's no this defined. So what happens is the function tries to find first sound locally inside the local scope of the speak function, and then if it is not able to find, it goes one level up, that is the parent function, that is window object, and it tries to find sound property there. Even if it is not available over there, it will return undefined. The second one is with context, and we saw with context two things inside it, that is implicit binding and explicit binding. I hope that this keyword concept has been clear to you now. Please leave the comments below. Thank you.